Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our reaction and review for The Morning Show, Season 1, Episode 2. Who's ready to go to the gala? What a delightful, weird place that this is. This episode actually took me by surprise in some interesting ways. And,
Mhm.
we're watching it for the first time. It's been out there for a while. And I'll just say from the start, I had no idea that it was actually going to be Alex who announced that Bradley was going to be her co-host on the morning show. That was not something I had ever heard about. Some things kind of just leak out there because our jobs are TV journalists, so we
Mhm.
hear things. So I was really blown away by the ending of this.
Yeah, I mean, I I was blown like I didn't see it coming, and then after that conversation that Bradley and Alex had in the bathroom, I was like, Alex might go in this direction. Her biggest thing is she really wants to be able to choose who the new co host is. She's extremely upset with Corey, and she thinks that this is a way to sort of get back at him, not realizing that Corey's been playing this game to get Bradley in there. This episode put things together in such an interesting back and forth cat and mouse kind of way. It was so good.
It's a great foundation. It basically feels like this episode and the premiere are almost like a two-part pilot because it's
Mhm.
like now we sort of set the table for what the show is going to be and how deliciously fun and probably crazy that will be. But we got a lot to talk about with that, but then like everything else in the episode as well. But before we dive further, be sure to join our Patreon. We have a link in the description
Mhm.
below. Every Tuesday night, we do a live stream over there. We talk all about the morning show. And beyond just that, here at the channel,
Mhm.
we are also getting into some other really, really great shows right now, including both Shrinking and Hijack that are
Yep.
also on Apple TV. So
Yep.
if you're subscribed to that, you can also check those out, as well as The Bear, an incredible, just really entertaining show.
Yeah, we're also covering Only Murders in the Building right
Yeah.
now, which so far this season's been a 10 out of 10. It is so good if you're looking for something really fun.
So, in dissecting this decision that Alex makes and why I think it's really effective is that my worry going into this was that Corey was just sort of coming up with this big scheme that eventually he was going to name Bradley the co-host of the morning show and really undermine Alex. And to me, that would have just been totally unbelievable because Bradley, for all of her experience, there's nothing about her that says that she is currently qualified to co-host a national morning news show. So for him to do that at any point in the near future, my eyes would have just rolled back in my head.
Yeah, I mean, this feels like this is what Corey wanted. He sort of brought it up as like, oh, she'll be like a field
Yeah.
correspondent, met up with her. There was a good chemistry there, jabs back and forth, talking back and forth. It felt like a fairly honest conversation with Bradley and Corey at that hotel, which was, refreshing to watch. And I think refreshing for both of them to kind of have, even though Corey had alternative motives for this. We'll see if you're a good field correspondent. I'll put it in with Charlie. You'll interview with him. Of course, that goes really
Yeah.
badly. Where, by the end of it, Bradley's just like, man, like, I really just get too hot headed with these things. If things kind of don't go my way, I'm yelling at people. I'm telling people off. I'm calling it out how it is, which is a lot of what Corey is seeing with her that he really likes about her, that feels refreshing, that gets views. This video now has like 5 million views. And, it's all about the views these days, right? Whether you're, your ratings, you're on TV or you're on YouTube or TikTok or whatever you're on, right? It's just the way that Corey set this up, it was so delicious to watch unfold in this way, where he's like, okay, everything went so badly with Charlie. Cool. We have this awards sort of ceremony tonight for Alex. Bradley, I'm sending you some dresses. You're going to come along. And she's just like, I blew it with Charlie. Like, what are you talking about? No, no, no. You'll come. You'll be great.
Yeah.
You're going to sit at the table with everybody. We're going to sit you beside Alex. At first, I thought the plan was to sit these two women beside each other in front of everybody to show the chemistry. so
Yep.
that everyone would see them chatting, talking, the back and forth, lobbing the ball back and forth, that everyone at the table would be like, oh, okay, we see what Corey sees now. But that is not how it played out.
No, and this is what makes it really fun now moving forward because Alex sort of knows that, okay, you guys are trying to prop me up in some way. She's basically told we bought you this award, which is,
Oh, that was so hard to
yeah,
hear.
which is just like shattering. And of course, she's going to be furious about this after the fact. And she's thinking, okay, how can I get my power back? Because in the wake of what happened with Mitch, she is the total face of the morning show at this point. And so for her to make this sort of announcement, it can't be walked back now. You can't have Corey or Charlie Chip or whatever it was that Bradley called him. Like, you can't have any of these people come out and be like, no, 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 that's not the case. Here is Alex being able to choose, her new co-anchor. And I mean, the big question here is this really something that she wants, or is this just a way to get back at everybody else at the network, which it seems like it is, but at the same time, she's got to sit next to this person now. Has she thought that part through?
Yeah, this was really, she had just had this conversation with Corey where basically it was confirmed that, was kind of on her way out. This award was bought for her. They don't really need her because she's like, if you don't let me have co-host approval, I'm going to walk. And he's like, bye, see ya.
Yeah.
Where it was enough for her to really kind of take a gulp and be like, uh-oh, like, are they really ready to just let me go and refresh the entire thing? I am tied to Mitch, and
Yeah.
everything that's going on with Mitch is now all over me. She even has said it where she was in the bathroom with, the rival, where like, oh, I'm really sorry, about everything that happened. She's like, well, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. Like, I'm fine. Like, Mitch did something. Go talk to him. But I really think that conversation with Bradley is what pushed her over in the bathroom, where Bradley's like, I don't even know why I'm here. Like, I feel like I'm here
Mhm.
to screw with you. That, like, Corey has brought me here to make you uncomfortable. Like, and then you've got Alex being like, well, then why did you stay? With Bradley being like, what am I supposed to do? He's the head of the network. Like, stop.
Yeah, I do think that there is some sort of understanding between the two, and that may be a foundation for something more. Like, the really difficult thing about a show in this vein is that you've obviously got Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston. You've got two enormous names. And so the just seeing the two of them on the posters, all the previews, like, you're going to assume that they're going to both be a part of the show in the long term. So for us as viewers, you kind of come into it with the assumption that, okay, they're probably going to find a way to make this work as co-anchors. But if you are sort of in the moment, like, let's say we're transporting ourselves to this real fictional world of the morning show, this is a really big risk for Alex to take, because in the event that this doesn't work out, like, let's say Bradley is just terrible at the job, or they don't have chemistry and it doesn't work, viewers don't respond to them, who ends up taking the fall for this? Is it going to be Corey? Are you going to throw Corey under the bus? Are you going to be able to throw Charlie under the bus? Or are they going to come out and be like, Alex announced this herself, so is Alex going to get the boot because of it?
Well, the other thing is we saw that Fred, like the head
Yeah.
of the network, wanted to bring in another man. And so having Alex choose another woman is risky for a bunch of different reasons. One, she doesn't really know
Yeah.
Bradley at all. She doesn't know how she's actually going to do. She thinks that, all she really knows about her is that she's really fiery, and that could cause a bunch of problems for Corey. That it's like, okay, I'm going to announce this woman, not realizing kind of that Corey's massaging that situation anyways, but to just be like, cool, now you get to deal with this. I chose the co-host. It's somebody you can't control. All the best to you, sort of thing. And the other thing that then comes into play here is if Bradley ends up outshining Alex, and Fred really wants a man in one of those spots,
Mhm.
and Alex was already kind of out the door, we're buying your awards, you're washed up, she could end up setting herself up that Bradley ends up taking her spot, and someone ends up coming in, a man ends up coming in and taking Alex's spot.
Yeah, there's also potentially like a financial implication here. I'm sure it doesn't cost anywhere near as much to keep Bradley as it would to keep Alex. With Alex, it's
15 years?
yeah, like, and you can bring in a man who doesn't require anywhere near the same salary if they're not that big a name. I will say this about Bradley, and I will give her a little bit of applause. I liked her ideas in the meeting
Mhm.
with Chip. Like I was trying to think about this because I'm not a regular morning TV viewer. Like I've never really been. Like the only time I ever listen to like the Today Show anchors is when they're doing like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. So I was just thinking about this, and would I watch a morning show if they tackled some of the things that Bradley suggested? Like I don't know, but I'd be more interested. Like if I'm watching a cooking segment I would just rather go to YouTube and watch like people teach me how to cook something I really want to make. I don't need to see some of their typical silly like puff piece segments, like generic blase celebrity interviews that are all the same. It's like none of that interests me. Bradley, you got ideas. I believe in you.
No, I agree. If I'm watching cooking segments, I'm coming here to
Yeah.
YouTube. There's so many better choices of people who are going to feel a little more genuine, a little more honest than what's going on with, two people from the morning show
Yeah.
that, couldn't care a less about how these eggs are made or whoever's here or
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, I mean, she really wants to try to bring something a little more fresh or a little more meaningful. We saw her walking down the hallway after Charlie kind of being like, who needs to see a piece about like what are the best ice cream flavors? I agree. I'm not here to watch that. This is nonsense. I can just go to the ice cream
Yeah.
store and pick my own.
Yeah. I
Also, it's black raspberry.
Okay, here's the best ice cream flavor, everybody. I will give you this information right now.
Mint chocolate chip. Listen, Steve
No.
Carell's on the show. What are you going to do?
Okay, yeah, that good point. Good point. It is chocolate fudge brownie, and then you get some more chocolate syrup and you just pour that all over the top, and then you get some other chocolate just all the chocolate, just chocolate upon chocolate upon chocolate.
Okay, we need to talk about Steve Carell
Yeah.
and the Mitch character because right now, where I am in the show, I don't really know anything going forward. Like, we know a tiny bit because,
Yeah.
as Matt said, we're TV journalists away from YouTube. But, like, I don't understand why his character is still really part of this show. Like, the whole setup is that he's been let go from the show. He's not really part of anything anymore. It's like
Yeah.
everybody from the network is over here, and then Mitch is all the way over here having a reaction to what's happened to him. And I feel like we already had the reaction in the pilot where this episode where he's just like, "Oh, I'm going to tell my side of the story. I'm going to show up to the gala anyways." And he ends up of course deciding not to do that, but for me personally, I don't need to hear Mitch's story. I know you guys have Steve Carell, he's a big
Yeah.
name, but I just don't need to hear Mitch's story anymore. I'm not interested in this story. I'm interested on how they're handling it over here.
The only way that you can really justify keeping Mitch around, and like you, I don't really know what's coming up this season, is just that you find a way to make it so that he is directly causing problems still for Alex or
Mhm.
Bradley as somebody as sort of an antagonist to one of them, because following him sort of separate from all of that, getting heckled on the street or, trying to settle his business affair. Like, I don't care about any of that. Like, that's not a part of the function of what this show is. Like, this show now is about how is this morning show going to work with these two
Yeah.
women at the center of it.
Yeah, because they started the show with him getting fired. And it feels like if they had maybe waited for this to like episode 4 or 5 or something like that,
Yeah.
that we see him at the top and then we see the downfall, then it'd be like, okay, then I'm more interested in seeing the after effect. But because we just came in with straight downfall and I
Yeah.
never really saw much of anything before, I'm just not invested in him. He's gone.
Here's what I'm invested in, at least when it comes to Bradley, is that, she has gotten this job offer out of the blue. Well, it's not even really a job offer. Alex is just like, this is my new co-anchor. So
Do you
she,
see her face?
Yeah.
She does not know what is going on.
yeah, she doesn't know what's going on. She's probably going to accept it, obviously, just because, it's already been announced that she is. And beyond all of that, it is more money, presumably, than she's ever seen at any point in her life. It's a big platform. But how is she going to handle then her family? Because it's been pretty established at this point. There's a lot of tough stuff going on
Mhm.
back at home, and she's kind of the stabilizing force for that. So I could see a pretty big unraveling for her as a character if she's just pretty much in New York almost all the time. Maybe she can go back like on the weekends or something, but trying to focus on this while also dealing with this problem that's far away, like that's a real challenge.
Yeah, especially with something where you start as early as you do. I'm friends with Jackie Martling. I've known him for years. He was the writer of the Howard Stern show, and he lives out on Long Island, but because Howard Stern show was being filmed in New York, he had to have an apartment there as well because there was no way he was getting up at 4 a.m. or 3:30
Yeah.
a.m. to make that drive all the way from Long Island all the way into New York. It's very difficult to balance those two lifestyles where it's like 5 days a week you're doing this really early morning show, but then on the weekends is when you have time to kind of go back and deal with home.
I'm gonna say this is sort of like a little bit of my own personal fever dream for what this show could be, because I there are moments where I wonder with it, is this supposed to be funny? Is that supposed to be it's a drama. Like it is a drama show with a couple of comedic elements, but
Yeah.
as we said earlier, we're covering the Bear, and one of the things the Bear does really well is they incorporate all of these guest stars in some pretty fun and
Yeah.
interesting ways. With this show moving forward, you guys have such an incredible opportunity for like every episode or two. Oh, here is Bradley Cooper to promote his upcoming movie. Here is Steve Martin. You could bring in any celebrity you want for any given segment. And the great thing about Alex and Bradley is they're both clearly outspoken. I mean, Alex is a lot more polished and Bradley, goes off the handle a lot quicker. But I think one of the things that this new era of the morning show could lean into is just that Bradley is known for going off, to put it bluntly. Like, there is that. I need to watch this because I need to know, did
Mhm.
Bradley tell off Bradley Cooper this morning, or what happened in that interview? And like, if I'm Corey, if I'm Charlie Chip, or whatever we end up calling him, like, how are you guys going to promote this?
Yeah, and the other thing going into this next episode that I'm really curious about
Yeah.
is how is Bradley really going to deal with this? Because she said in that bathroom that she feels that Corey is using her to kind of screw around with Alex. Then Alex goes up on stage and is like, "Hey, Bradley's my new co
Yeah.
host." And she knows that Alex hasn't been that great to her. So she's smart enough to know that Alex is also probably using her. So going into this next episode where she feels like she's kind of being used by Alex and kind of being used by Corey, like, yeah, it's a great opportunity and there's lots of money, but does she want that headache that she's got to deal with these two egos lobbing her back and forth while she's trying to take the opportunity to do something on top of Chip Charlie not wanting her there?
Here's what I would do if I am Bradley in this moment. I would be thinking about all this, and I would just be like, you know what? I'm going to get a good bit of guaranteed screen time every day.
Mhm.
I'm just going to go out there and do the best freaking job that I can and be entertaining, be outspoken and all this. Because you know what?
She's tough.
Yeah, this stuff's probably going to blow up at some point because none of these people really seem like they want me there.
Mhm.
But I can use this to leverage my career. And then on the other side of this, maybe I will get a job of people who actually want me there and a platform that I can really use. So I'm just going to take this bull by the horns for as long as I can until they inevitably buck me off of it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, that's our take on the morning show season 1, episode 2. Who knows where this weird world of morning news will go from here?
Yep.
But be sure to check out our Patreon. We've got a link in the description below. Live streams there
Mhm.
every single Tuesday about the morning show. Thank you to everyone who has
Thank you.
joined us so far, and we'll see you here next time.